we're going to call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. We have a quorum, and in your packet you have the minutes from the May 15th meeting. For the board, if you've had a chance to take a look at that, I'll take a motion to accept and approve those minutes. Motion by Darlene, second by Janine. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, at this time, jump ahead and we'll open the public hearing for SRI CV Plastics. And if anyone would like to speak, please make sure you've signed in. Please step to the mic and we'll give anyone 3 minutes to direct any sort of comments to the board. And we will be voting on this at the July meeting, so not today at this meeting. At this time, I'll ask my legal counsel to make a statement.
I'll read the notice of public hearing. Town of Lockport Industrial Development Agency, please take notice that the Town of Lockport Industrial Development Agency. The agency will hold a public hearing on June 12, 2025 at 8 o'clock a.m. at the Town of Lockport Town Hall, 6560 Geisinger Road, Lockport, New York, to consider the following proposed financial assistance requested of the agency. SRI CV Plastics Inc., the company, filed an application with the agency requesting that the agency consider undertaking a project. The project consisting of A, the acquisition of an approximately 2-acre parcel of land located at 1000 Enterprise Drive, Town of Lockport, New York 14094, part of tax map number 108.00-1-56, also known as the land. B, the construction of an approximately 13,870 square foot building on the land, which will serve as a plastics product manufacturing facility, primarily for the manufacture of disposable food containers used for food packaging and agricultural products packaging improvements. C, the acquisition and installation therein and thereon, related fixtures, machinery, equipment, and other tangible personal property, collectively the equipment, and together with land and improvements to the facility. And D, the lease to the agency and the lease back to the company of certain portions of the facility. The total cost of the portion of the project which the company is seeking financial assistance on is $3,040,000. The agency will acquire an interest in the facility through a lease. The financial assistance contemplated by the agency will include mortgage tax abatement, sales tax exemption on any materials and or equipment purchased for incorporation into the project, and real property tax abatement in accordance with existing agency uniform tax exemption policy and guidelines as amended. The exemption from general real property taxation with respect to the facility shall be offset in whole or in part by contractual payments in lieu of taxes, the pilot, by the company for the benefit of the affected tax jurisdiction. The company has requested a pilot agreement providing for a 15-year term, which contemplates a payment of 20% of the general real property taxation for years 1 and 2, 30% for years 3 and 4, 40% for years 5 through 9, and 50% for years 10 through 15, for a total net exemption of $133,414 over a 15-year term of the pilot agreement. The estimated value of the sales tax exemption is $54,891. The estimated value of the mortgage tax abatement is $5,813. The project will be leased to the company or a related entity to the Town of Lockport Industrial Development Agency and leased back to the company or a related entity, which will be the occupant for the project. The agency and or company will present information relative to the project and application at the hearing. Persons interested may attend and will be given an opportunity during the hearing to make statements. Also, written comments may be submitted to the agency at or before the hearing. Additional information can be obtained from, and written comments may be addressed to Thomas Syed, Administrative Director, Town of Lockport Industrial Development Agency, Town of Lockport Hall, 6560 Geisinger Road, Lockport, 094. Phone number 716-439-9535, dated May 15th, 2025, by order of the town of Lockport Development Agency. That is your notice.
Thank you. At this time, we will give the applicant room, a few minutes to step to the mic and summarize the project.
If you don't mind, I just want to bring up Terry Burke for Mr. Bellevue project. I just want to remind everybody there are so many different things. At that time, we described the relationship between the Bellevue Sandy Dustin Bolton wind turbine project. That's the same thing. And focus for most of the time on the establishment of the wind turbine project. That project was basically put into shape where it is now short of success with the USDA grant. Now that Mr. Bellevue is back in the country, I expect the phone to succeed sometimes scheduled for some so it was retarded. Now that the winter project is critically focusing on
this plastic facility is something awful process of the process. You have to produce one. It's supposed to put parts to great products. Food product, food packing, and also food agriculture, food packing, shows packing. You know, other hand, policies. So we have a already know that customer base last year. Yeah. So this is a complete process of planning. So those much more pollution. So
time, then we will close the public hearing for SRICD Plastics. And just take a 2-minute pause here, and before we move on to presentation by Hudson Fencing.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. What is that? I know they love someday, but that's interesting. I only know because investment doing that stuff. What that is. But they've not gotten rid of all their Iceland. It's so funny. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But they were looking. Well,
All right.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we will resume our meeting and we'll ask Mr. Joseph Smith to step to the mic to talk about his Smith fencing project.
Morning, everybody. Joe Smith with Woodsmith Fence. Was a lifelong Lockport resident, born and raised here. Family also lives here. Our employees live here. John Austin, former supervisor, was my childhood mentor. So this is where I'm from. We've been in business on Old Southern Summer Road since 2009. We're primarily a commercial fencing contractor. Schools, we're doing Start Point right now. Wilson, we're doing the state bills right now. Prisons, jails, highways, anything else, commercial, industrial fence, guide rail. What we also do is fabrication, done handrails that we try to do a little bit in-house, subbing a lot of it out. And that's why I'm here. We'd like to move into the IDA park to begin manufacturing of hand railing, custom railings, small steel components for our work and our trades, some work for other people that we would take on with this building. So that's kind of what we're here. We're trying to we need to take a step up in our manufacturing. Is what we're doing. We're kind of not efficient and archaic. It's been a long. It's not working very well. So that's why we're looking.
how many total employees do you have right now? 30?
I think we're in the 30s. It fluctuates a little bit. There's probably a 9-person office. And, the field staff can rise by 8 to 10 in the summertime, depending on how busy we are.
How many of those would move over to?
The office would go over, and then at the start, 3 people in the shop, which would then we plan to grow that until we kind of get up and running. It's hard to sell these jobs without the equipment. Like we're forever trying to do this, and we don't have the ability to build it it, so kind of we're stuck in a spot here now, we have to do this now. I can't sell a job without people build it, so that's kind of where we've been. We're having the contract allotted out, and we had some issues last year with hiring fabricators and timelines, because everybody's having trouble with timelines now in that field, so that also led to this, we got a couple jobs last year, we couldn't get in on time. Couldn't get parts. So,
You're not familiar with the easy entry door building that Moley had leased out to an entity for a couple of years, and now it's being purchased by Joe for both office and fabrication, so that'd be nice plus as well.
Just mostly aluminum fabrication.
no, we do aluminum, stainless, galvanized, we do a lot of raw steel that we galvanize and powder coat. Just ramp railings, like anywhere you see a railing in a commercial project. We don't do a lot of foams, but hand railing is a lot bigger than you think it is. There's a lot of hand railing. Instead of walking on a sidewalk in a way or something like that, there's a lot of hand railing. That's what we're into. So this is another segment of our business that we have to manufacture. We're going to we weld gates and build stuff for ourselves, like excavator buckets, but we also fabricate our fence gates and temporary panels. That's going over there also. We're going to move. We have a weld shop over right now.
Stainless as well, you said?
Yeah. And we'll do catwalks, small steel fixtures, things like that. Like it's, we have like a little niche market where people sometimes don't want to do these jobs, and we're just the right size that larger people pass over them, and we end up picking up some of these jobs. We did a catwalk for a wastewater treatment plant, so we just built a little catwalk across the tanks that other people pass on. So that's kind of
You would expect over time to grow, your number of FTEs.
on the construction side, we were looking at manufacturing only, like the construction business. I mean, Tom will tell you we were here 10 years ago. I don't know what we were at that time. We probably grown by 20 employees instead of 25 or more. And I think we want to do more of this. Our office is going to continue to grow. We have employees. Tom told you we were looking in other places like Buffalo and Tonawanda. There's property there. There's some really good employees in Newfane and Barker and Nashville. I don't want to go to Lackawanna. You know what I mean? I don't want to, if I found a nice industrial property in Lackawanna, I'm like, I have to do it myself. I don't know if these people driving Barker. And that was part of it. And yeah, I would say the fab shop. I mean, they're already talking about people here are saying, like, yeah, we're gonna move over here. When do we meet? Like, they're like, hey, you're gonna put 15 people in there, and then we're gonna have to look for another space someday. So we pass up a lot of work for this now that we can't do because we can't do it. So I don't think it'll be a problem in a couple of years. I don't know. There can be 10 people that are working here. I don't know. Yeah. It's a matter of finding people. Welders are a little bit easier to find, some of the trades people we deal with, so this place would be easier to staff than the field.
Right.
It would be welders, and we're going to hire, so I guess I put the application. As soon as we bring the equipment in, the computers, we're going to bring draftsmen in, we're going to bring a detail in. One of our guys is going to go in on the shop, bring our weld over, we're going to hire other welders. There's probably 3 or 4 people right off the bat coming in within a matter of months, I'd say. We just got to get the equipment in and kind of figure out what we're doing. So
I've got kind of a tough question, but it's a really important question for this board because it's a threshold question for the board, which is you've got it marked in your application. You can confirm by checking the box that you did that there is a likelihood the project would not be undertaken if this board did not financially assist you. And I was wondering if you could comment on that. It's really a primary threshold question for this board to have a confirmation that their financial assistance is a requirement for the project.
I mean, it probably is because I don't know if we would go in the park there. I've been looking for prices, 10 years. I mean, we looked at places, we looked at some places were more, like I said, we looked at Jacob's Ladder, we looked at a place in Sanborn, I looked at a places other places in that county. I don't think we couldn't get the equipment, get the building. We could probably purchase that building without the board's assistance, but I don't think we wouldn't be able to buy the equipment and get the place going without assistance. So I would say yes. In all honesty, I could probably buy the building without help. And I know there are more reasonably priced larger projects in other municipalities, but like I said, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to leave Lockport Swing where I live. We have people here, like probably 5 employees from town, and they live on Main Road, Rapids, they come to work here. And when we were looking at Lackawanna, like it was a tough conversation. Like I don't
I know
know.
that we all appreciate wanting to be here.
And it's 3 miles in. It's 3 miles from our building, like it does. I'm not gonna tell you like, oh hey, but that's not an advantageous place for us to be. Like it's 3 miles, so it's close to our facility now. And if that place wasn't so close, we'd have to move because we need to keep our space here. Like we were gonna go to Tonawanda. There's 17 acres and 8,000 square feet now, it's full. And we were looking at 25,000 square foot building. This wasn't so close because we don't really like split it because now the office is on site and at the yard where the construction people come and go and the yard people work. If it wasn't so close, we could bounce back and forth because we were going to take our whole yard and warehouse and have to move like a 25,000 square foot building somewhere else. But now this came up because it fell through or something. It's like, well, it's right down the street. So that kind of was part of it.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thanks for coming.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry to make it last time. Very embarrassing. Yeah.
It's
Look
okay.
yourself in there sometimes.
Exactly.
Puts you just a month, yeah, it makes some sense actually, because you're able to do this presentation now, the board will call for a public hearing a month from now.
Okay.
And then you'll have the.
I gotta come back. I don't think anybody will show up. I mean, anyway, I got something. It's hard to get business this long, not having somebody. All right, see you. I feel
Bring your own type sheet.
I got a 5-year-old that you all get along with. Yeah, she just tickles everybody. Take care.
Thanks, Jim. I think we did some of the fencing. There.
All right. We will move on to our treasurer's report. Kristen?
Okay, on the balance sheet, we have about 1.7 million in cash, 156,000 in the checking, the remainder in the savings. You see that we did put back on that accounts payable for GM litigation. It's the second one we've been on there. This is the stop payment on the check. And we have a year-to-date net loss of 38,462, which if you turn to the income statement on the following page, that tracks to the year-to-date loss. For the month, we had $500 in interest and $2,000 in application fees for total income of $2,500 and total expenses of $6,726 for a total net loss of $4,221. The interest this month is lower because of the switch from Evans to NBT. They actually posted the interest on our savings account in early June. So we're going to see more interest in June as they true it up. And then July going forward, it'll just be at the end of the month again. And then on the statement of cash transactions, you see the interest from smaller interest from Evans and their disbursements of $6,726 for a total cash balance of about 1.7 million. So anyone have any questions on the statements?
everything's going well with MBT so far.
Yeah, good.
Issues?
Yeah. Getting used to a new interface.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a motion to accept the financial statements as presented. Second by Janine, second by Bob, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And invoices and bills.
Okay, I present the June bills for your approval. The total June checks and disbursements are $9,367.18. The biggest ones is for some desktop computers and installation Synchronet and CBA tool upgrade for $1,000. Everything else is pretty normal.
I'll just comment on those as well. Our two towers were not only ancient, but they were Windows 10, which is no longer supported. So a number of the town hall computers are being upgraded, but ours were some of the oldest, so that work has been done. The only negative was they don't have CD readers, so I had to get extra CD readers. And our pilots are, well, our pilots. And you may recall the CBA tool game is a cost benefit analysis tool. We probably purchased it originally like 3 years ago, and they've done an upgrade. They probably do it like 2 or 3 years. Sadly, the upgrade really doesn't probably help us all that much. It really was designed to better represent renewable energy projects and better represent housing projects that a lot of other IDAs are doing, but nonetheless, it's a new version of the tool that was used for both of the cost benefit analysis you see on Woodsmith and on CD Plastics. So that's the details.
When I first read that, 2 horsepower computer. That's
Right.
powerful. It's nice.
Multi-purpose. That it, Kristen?
That's it.
Okay, all right, we have a motion from Kristen to pay the invoices and bills. Second by Arlene, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Kristen. And moving on to administrative director's report.
I'll be quick. I do have some exactly quick, but as you know, I did attend the EDC annual meeting. Some interesting programs. I did some interesting local connections. There was a program on the difficulty of data center siting. Well, they used a project down in Somerset, which was probably the easiest project in the world to site, given access to power and nobody around and so on. But I did get to meet the gentleman that's overseeing that data center in Somerset. Really good program on the future of nuclear power. You may have started to read where Microsoft and Google and others have started to, like Microsoft is working on 3 Mile Island, fire up a closed nuclear. I think it's Constellation Energy is working to build 2 new kind of traditional reactors at 9 Mile Point and Oswego. But you're starting to see much more of these small modular reactors that I won't get into all the particulars, but there's 3 of those being installed in the province of Ontario as we speak, not for data centers, for actual electricity and so on. So that was a cool program. If you're really interested, there was an AI futurist that put together a book, and if you'd like to read that book, I have to share a copy with you. But a little bit intense. And then lastly, there's a neat program building out kind of market-ready industrial parks. And again, one of the case studies there was the Apple Tree Industrial Park over in Genesee County, which has been neat to look at. It's similar to us in terms of a lot of organic growth, if you will. So that was it was definitely worthwhile, if you will. Any day now, there'll be some drainage work being done in the park, not only the more important sections between Custom Laser back to our retention pond, but ironically enough, the ditch that runs between Lucky 8 and the 5299 Enterprise that Joe's taking a look at. That's going to be rough shape too. We have done some work on the spring, the entrance beds for the spring. There are 2 giant boxwoods, like most of your boxwoods at home, that are dead as a doornail. But they're big enough that actually the water department yanking them out for us. And I haven't been out in the park this week, but he was supposed to begin the brush hogging. I have had communications with Deering Landscaping, so it won't surprise me if I get out there that summer all that brush hogging is done. I did attend two, but more importantly, an applicable one yesterday, all the different state programs and the grant opportunities they have, not necessarily maybe for the IDA, but maybe for the town. But I will make some of them available to some of our businesses that may be a fit. And if you didn't look, don't ask me why we never really done it. Similar to the town's website, we did add a red banner at the top of our website, and for example, used it to promote, the public hearing. It was always kind of weird that we would promote that on the town's website because we really didn't have a simple means to do it on ours. So we worked with North Shore to put that on there. Obviously, if we do a public hearing for Portsmouth next month, we put that on there and just keep folks aware of it.
That just comes up with some, right?
I don't know. It's a good question whether you can take it down and take it up. In the towns, we've always had something that was newsworthy and continued to use it. Let me check with them.
I just say, look at that.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I'll check with them. No, that was it. Yeah, items for today.
Okay, all right, thank you, Tom. And attorney's report.
A couple things, just reporting, JNR Magnetics, which has a pilot, that's been incentivized by us, went through, they're getting a new mortgage, and they needed some sign off from the IDA, which we worked with their attorneys, and Chairman Todd Fergali came over, signed a bunch of paperwork. Basically, we just made sure that the mortgage paper documentation indicated that the IDA would be held harmless, things along those lines to make sure that all of that's clear. Don't think they've closed yet. That was a piece of legal work that was done. All costs for the legal work flow to them, not to the IDA. They were not substantial, $800 or something. The GM money still is back in our account, right?
Yes.
I have a feeling it may never come out, and I haven't heard anything recently. I reached out to Morgan Jones, who is the attorney that represented us, and he had followed up. He hasn't heard anything back, but we've tendered our money, so I don't anticipate us making any further efforts to get it to them until we ever hear from them. We'll just leave it in there.
It's like a ship at sea.
Yeah.
So, the next
Yeah, obviously our
Yeah.
balance is healthy, and it's not like whether they're not bothering us. So, but until further notice, we tendered our asset to them. They didn't do anything about it, so we took it back. Well, we didn't take it back so much as canceled the check so that it didn't go skew to the state, sitting and sit there. So we don't want that.
Kristen, is there any sort of accounting guidance on how, as far as timelines?
No, not really. I mean, it's still a liability on our part because we own it. And honestly, maybe in like 10 years, if nothing happens, we decide, all right, it's past the
Statute.
Right, statute. We take it.
Yeah, it would be maybe 6 years. It's probably before that we could if we needed to, but I would leave it just kind of dangling there as a liability for now. It's quite bizarre. I guess it just shows the size of the entity.
Right.
That kind of amount is just disregard.
But at the same time, they make sure they live forever.
Right. Right. Maybe someone retired.
Yeah.
Someone that's very concerned about that. Eisenbag, who had purchased some property from us, is very close to getting an approval from the planning board relative to their site plan approval. They're close, so there have been a few hiccups there, but the one thing that I'm still waiting to hear from them is that they had the road not positive about what their anticipated schedule is for construction, but as we get deeper into the season, I'm imagining maybe the majority of that construction will be next year. And then also, don't forget, we need to take a motion on Smith Fencing to call for a public hearing at next month for 8:00 a.m. on July 10th to consider the incentivization package for that. We need to do that before the end. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, so why don't we do that then? So at this time, we'll take a motion to have Woodsmith Fencing, call a public hearing for next month for Woodsmith Fencing. I'll make that motion by Bob, second by Terry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Any old business? Any new business? And I guess at this time, we'll take a motion to move into executive session for consultation with attorney. Motion by Caroline, second by Janine. All in favor? Opposed? All right, we're in executive.
No, I need our copy to set up. Yeah. Bill, copy.
Right. All right, let's see. Next meeting will be 8 a.m. Thursday, July 10th. If you're unable to attend, please let Tom know as soon as possible. And I think that's it. So at this time, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Dan. Second by Terry. All in favor? Opposed? All right, adjourned.